What is good, Fantasyland? We're back for Draft Room Live on this spicy, hot afternoon. Happy Wednesday afternoon to you. Hump Day, they call it. And I got a special guest joining me today. You've seen him with us in the GOAT District. He's a high-stake grinder, friend of mine, always talking fantasy, always talking roster builds. And we're going to be talking some underrated offenses today, some underrated stacks that you should be building. And our boy Mason Spain is in the house. Mason, what's up, brother? How you doing today?
Hey, JD, how you doing, brother?
So you pulled the
I'm doing good.
spot.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Let me just get your volume up. There we go. And I'll turn the music down one notch. Hopefully you guys can hear us okay. I know Jamie, my sound guy, is in. Appreciate you jumping in, Jamie. So Mason's got the 6 spot. I've got the 10 spot. Let's see where we're going to go here. Let's get a little spicy on this one. We're going to go a little CMC action. Sound is good. Our sound guy says the sound is good. There we go. So, Mason, where are you on CMC this year? Is he someone you've been drafting all off season? Is he someone you're drafting more recently? What are your thoughts on it?
I'm not going to draft CMC. I don't want to get rude about my arguments to the people who love him, but I think he has a future spot on San Francisco's injured reserve, and that's just my feeling. So I avoid him for the injury risk. There's too much other talent that I don't need to gamble on his upside.
Even in these bigger field tournaments, you're not willing to take him every once in a while, mix him in?
You know, it's probably a fault of mine because I do draft a lot of best ball, but I try to have a mindset of drafting each draft like it's my only one. And
which is not a bad way to do it.
Whenever CMC is available in the draft, there's too much talent around him with, I think, less risk, and I'm gonna fade the risk.
Yeah, I'm at 5%. I'm at 5% with McCaffrey right now on the FFPC site as a whole, not even this tournament, which is why I like mixing him up here. Ooh, this is tempting. Let me check my ADP here. A couple ways I can go. Yeah, I'm actually going to go. We're going to grab Neighbors here. Start off McCaffrey, Neighbors. This is Superflex, BBT, $35 buy-in. 100,000 the first, $577,000 prize pool, 20 rounds, like many ways you can go about these builds, Mason. That's kind of what I like about it. The BBT, the 300,000, 125 buy-in, 1 QB, also very fun, but the Superflex adds a little spice to the tight end premium. So you started with Burrow. Have you watched? You've been watching quarterbacks on Netflix?
I have not yet. I figured I'll wait till it's all over and then binge watch it.
Just binge it, yeah. I started it a couple days ago, so I'm like on the 2nd episode. Cheers, afternoon Americano. I know you're rocking your coffee, Mason. Thing's already cold. It's been sitting there for a bit.
Barton just told me to take Puka.
There you go. Yeah, I was deciding Puka or Neighbors there.
I don't mind starting wide receiver in any draft with one quarterback, but when it's super flex, it makes it a little bit scarier to push the running backs out, knowing you got to get your QBs as well.
It is.
Not drafting a running back It was a little scary, but
So you like
Burrow
getting
and
your
Puka's a good start.
you like getting your running back early?
In Superflex, it's just scary to push it out farther. I'm not going to go 0 running back in Superflex. I want my hero,
You want your hero,
and I
your
want to make
anchor.
sure I at least have that one
I see
guy.
what you're saying.
Yeah, but then that hero could be the guys that come in the later rounds, like Kyron or Brees Hall or Josh Jacobs. It doesn't have to be one of the typical round 1 guys.
Just getting a post here out here that we are live. Appreciate you guys joining. If you're watching this later on or you're watching it live, make sure you smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the shows. Dan and I on the Go District High Stakes Fantasy Show have Andrew Cooper, the tight end guru, high stakes beast, one of the best analysts in the game at this point. He's on XM Radio. He's joining us this Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern in the district. Be chopping it up. Dan's back from his canoe trip. All right. So I put as a title today, Mason, underrated offenses and hidden stacks. I'm in the Scott Fish Bowl right now. I know you've got your live draft coming up. If you guys have not seen it yet, I put up a video, I think it was last week or the week before. No, it was last week. Just a guide to help you with the Scott Fish Bowl 15 draft. So some tools that you might not know are out there to help you out. Not necessarily like here's the winning strategy, but some tips on how to approach it on a macro level. Hopefully that helps you out. I know you said you checked that out, Mason. When's your draft? It's coming up, isn't it? The live one?
It was us. It was already on Sunday. I got an invite about 12 hours before the draft started. I was a last minute fill-in.
Okay, but you made it out.
Yeah, I made it. So
How
that's
was
why I
it?
reached out to you, because I had 12 hours to figure out,
I see,
which end was up. So
Wow.
between
How'd you make
between
out?
the suggestions you had on your video and Draft Sharks, I was in good shape.
Nice. All right, I'll let you pick. You're coming up here in the third round. So you started off Joe Burrow and Puka Nacua. I've got CMC Neighbors started from the 10 spot. We'll see where Mason goes with his next pick here.
OG Mudbone has given me plenty of time to think about it.
He's definitely working that clock. I mean, the nice thing with these BBTs is you do get the longer clock, which I don't mind, especially because I'm streaming for a lot of these and, kind of trying to juggle a bunch of things at once. So it's nice to get that extra time. So he takes London there.
I'm going to regret this, but it's the right pick.
I like it. I like it just because that's a team I want to talk about today. I actually took him in the Scott Fish Bowl. And they're one of my underrated offenses this year. I think they're going to be better, especially for fantasy. When you think about the weapons they have, they've got JT, they bring in Tyler Warren, they got Pittman coming back healthy, hopefully. They've got, of course, Adonai Mitchell, I think, is a huge undervalue right now. And Josh Downs, he didn't matter who was quarterback last year. He seems kind of quarterback proof. I've been trying to trade for Adonai in Dynasty. No luck so far. He's been kind of out of sight, out of mind. What are your thoughts on the Colts?
I think that I'd be happier if Daniel Jones is the quarterback all the way through the year. But even with Daniel Jones, what wide receivers in New York did he ever make truly fantasy viable over the years? I don't see the Colts' third best wide receiver becoming a fantasy asset personally.
So you think Daniel's the quarterback?
I think the Colts would be fools not to let him be. I mean, Anthony Richardson can't complete 50% of his passes. I honestly don't care what he brings to the table athletically. If you can't complete 50%, you're not an NFL starting quarterback. And so the hype about him since day one has absolutely been unwarranted. And I can promise you, if you search on Twitter for Mason Spain, Anthony Richardson, you will see all the shade I've been throwing since the day he was drafted.
Yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad because he could have been something exciting. You would think that he maybe comes back this season improved on that, but the injury situation that we're hearing about is not helping him kind of stay on the field and helping him work on that precision. That's for sure. I don't
think working on it would help though. Tim Tebow was never going to be an NFL quarterback, and neither is Anthony Richardson. They can't throw the ball. If you can't throw the ball, you can't play quarterback.
Well, I do think Daniel Jones, we haven't necessarily seen him with a nice, surrounded by proper weapons, proper offensive line. This guy sniped me with the Purdy. All right, I was hoping Purdy would come back there, but that is no biggie. I'm going to swing for the fences here and grab Drake May, who I really like this year.
I think he's a good value. He's a good value with going that far behind Bo Nix, because to me, Bo Nix and Dre May are take one or take the other, and 100%. Drake May is a bigger discount.
100%. I totally agree. That's definitely the way I see it. I like the upside with May. I think Bo Nix, just because last year was more consistent, had a better offense around him. He had Sean Payton behind him. Drake May this year, we should see a nice step forward, but I do think that they should be closer on par. And starting late at quarterback in a tournament like this, there were other quarterbacks sitting there, but I'm swinging for upside. And that's why I take Drake May, and I like it. I like it so far. I don't usually like starting Rainbow, but I don't mind it here. I was hoping I'd get Purdy for this San Francisco stack. I talk about it often on the show how much I love their schedule this year. I like these main components in that offense, but I also don't mind getting top, kind of my anchors at those three positions and then starting off with Drake May. So you're coming up here, you're on the clock. You started with Joe Burrow, Puka Nacua, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I'm having trouble with this one because I really, 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 really wanted Justin Herbert.
You're hoping Herbert would fall. It's hard with that McConkey there. You got to think that he's probably going to try to get him.
And my queue has run out. I can't do the queue like I normally do when I live stream.
I like the T. Higgins. I mean, you've got the Burrow Higgins stack. You've got a couple studded receivers, and then your anchor running back. So far, so good with a Joe Burrow start.
Yeah, I hate to say I fade T. Higgins because he's awesome, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to taking another team's stud WR1 or taking a WR2 on his own team, however great that offensive is, I have a hard time trusting the overall production of a guy who's the wide receiver 2 on his own team. And that's no shade to Higgins. It makes me favor guys like Garrett Wilson usually.
I mean, he was what, wide receiver 5 was he? Fantasy points per game last year, T. Higgins? Yeah, wide receiver 5, fantasy points per game.
If I didn't have Joe Burrow, I probably would have thrown a dart at Tyreek Hill.
Yep, I see that.
But the Burrow Higgins stack broke the tie.
So four spots started Jamar Chase, Dak Prescott, Garrett Wilson, and then J.J. McCarthy. So you started talking about the fishbowl real quick. Let's just get your quick thoughts on the live draft. How did that go? What position did you draft from? And what are your thoughts on the tournament so far?
It was a lot of fun. I drafted from the 3rd position. I'm trying to pull it up now so I can review it. I took it at the 1.03 with the rules there, and what do they say? Volume is king.
Yep.
It's so weird. I took Jahmyr Gibbs at the 1.03. because he's going to lose volume to David Montgomery, but gain volume with the receptions that he has. I mean, if he can be a 75 to 80 reception guy, I mean, I hate to bank on an injury to Montgomery or hope for one, but I just see it league winning upside with Jahmyr Gibbs.
I don't disagree. I think those top three running backs, like I said, I just mix them in, man. I want to kind of even ownership on the three of them. And I think a tournament like that, to get one of those guys to start is pretty sweet. I was at the back end from the 12 spot. I actually just took Adonai Mitchell and Kendry Miller in the 20th and 21st round.
Nice.
Just pulling up my roster here. I can't remember how I started it now. Oh yeah, Justin Jefferson and Trey McBride were my first two picks, and then I came back with Jonathan Taylor and Justin Fields. I went really hard on tight
Justin
ends.
Jefferson went it.
I've got two.
Yeah, so I've been going hard on tight ends too.
I've got, what is that? 2, 4, 6. I've got 8 tight ends so far. So I smashed tight end pretty hard. I've got 3 quarterbacks, Justin Fields, Geno Smith, and then Tyler Shook. I think the Saints is the other offense I think this year that can give us a bit more fantasy points than maybe they're being given credit for right now. I think you've got, what's his name? The second receiver. Wow, I'm blanking. He was injured last year. Raheed Shaheed. I think when he was on the field last year, he started popping pretty nicely. If they can get something decent in the quarterback position, I think this team can pop with Kamara there. Chris Olave is a little undervalued for me right now. And then running back behind Kamara, I mean, they brought in Devin Neal, who's, nothing special anywhere in particular, but kind of good at everything, that kind of guy. Kendry, for the price, I still believe it. I really like them coming in, and all the issues I feel like, were health related, but anything else were with the past regime. You've got a new regime there. So we'll see what they do at the running back positions. Where do you sit on the Saints at their current prices right now? Do you feel like they're an offense that you can kind of pick off at a nice value, or are you avoiding them?
The only Saint I really like drafting is Rashid Shaheed, but Chris Olave falls so far in the draft that it's hard to pass up that value. It's like, but the thing is, when Rashid Shaheed was healthy last year for the short time he was outproducing Olave. So
yeah.
All right, so I'm on the clock, and I got sniped at quarterback again. Golly, this kind of feels gross because I need quarterback.
Yeah, this is where it kind of gets gross, especially when you're seeing all the other pieces that are on the board. I don't hate that. I don't hate Lawrence there with Stroud gone.
Stroud was going to be my guy that could, just get just enough scramble yards. But truth be told, Lawrence is really as athletic as Stroud is.
Yeah, I mean, with Liam Cohen there, you got to see a bounce back from Jacksonville, especially T-Law. I mean, this is kind of do or die, in my opinion, for him. Like, if he doesn't take the next step this year, or at least show that he's able to grasp that offense, I think he'll be able to do that this year. So I'm coming up here in the 5 spot. Started off McCaffrey, Neighbors, Kittle, May, Drake May. See who falls to me. The 9 spot went Green, 3 in the first. Penix was one guy I was considering here. I don't think I'm going to have a choice but to take Stafford here. Get my second quarterback in. I did wait a little longer. I actually like pairing a quarterback like Stafford with Drake May. I think they complement each other nicely. Plus, adding Adams to Stafford. They add a young tight end. Higbee's back healthy. You've got Kyron. A couple pretty good depth running back pieces behind him. And obviously, Sean McShay running that show. So far, so good, considering I waited 4 rounds to get my first quarterback.
Yeah, I like my quarterbacks with Burrow and Lawrence better than yours, but you have a rushing upside that I do not. So yeah. I think it balances out. Drake May's rushing upside really makes up a lot for me getting Burrow in the first round.
Totally agree. So we'll see what the 12 spots. So while we're waiting, we talked about the Colts. We talked about the Saints. Are there any offenses right now that you see that maybe people are sleeping on or maybe a little undervalued that you've been, sneaking into your drafts this offseason?
All right. Sleeper offenses, I don't know about as a whole. But I got a sneaky feeling about some guys for the Jets. And I hate saying that because I'm a abandoned Jets fan. I left Jets fandom. When they fired Robert Saleh, I sent all my Jets gear to a garage sale. But Garrett Wilson is on an island at what? Garrett Wilson is on an island. Breece Hall we know what Breece Hall's upside is if his offensive line comes around. I don't care about coach speak. I'm not worried about Isaiah Davis and Braylon Allen.
Me neither.
People who talk about all this coach speak about what Aaron Glenn says, what do you expect a coach to say about the guys who hear the interviews in the locker room? He's going to say, we expect a lot from him. We see a lot of potential. We hear it every year. It means absolutely nothing. So Breece Hall's on an island. Garrett Wilson's on an island, and I like Mason Taylor for sneaky upside.
It's a narrow target tree. That's what I like about the Jets, and I like it's kind of the unknown with Justin Fields coming in, new coaching. But I agree with you on the Breece Hall stuff. I mean, for me, it just gives me nice value, with the uncertainty that people might have. Let's see where to go here.
If you snipe me, I'm logging off.
Pardon me? That's hilarious. What am I at? 20 seconds here? All right, let's see where we want to go. All right. I'm going to go with my second receiver here. There's 2 guys I'm considering. I'm going to go JSN. I don't think I sniped you with that one.
No, you didn't snipe me, but that's a great pick. He's going to be a target monster.
Agreed. And I gave the 9 spot. Wow, he didn't take it. I gave him Marvin Harrison for his Kyler Murray stack, and he didn't take it. And he didn't take James Conner. So that's very interesting. I'm not a Tua guy this year. I mean, I'm not a Tua guy, period. But interesting how he started 3 running backs and then 3 quarterbacks there. I would have probably taken my first receiver there, especially when I can stack my top quarterback.
All right, I just got sniped. Cam Ward was my guy.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, big time. I don't think he's going to be Jaden Daniels, but he's the guy that makes you feel like there's that upside is there.
He's a great QB3 in these builds for sure.
Here's how I feel about Cam Ward. Oh, I got 30 seconds left.
Yeah, make your pick, and then we can talk about it.
Well, we do play in tight end premium, don't we?
Do it. There it is.
So I feel weird trying to compare Cam Ward to Jaden Daniels, so I just figured out a way to compare him. I like Cam Ward as a rookie this year better than I liked Caleb Williams as a rookie last year.
I don't disagree with that. I think coming into last season, because of the weapons that he was coming into with Caleb, people were really high on him, and it was almost like set up for disappointment. Whereas Cam Ward is the opposite. We don't see Tennessee as a sexy offense. They've got Ridley there. He's a bit older. Their tight ends are like Pollard. Probably produced better than people remember last year. They've got Spears waiting, in the wings. The tight end is not sexy in Chig. But I think he comes into a sneaky situation where the expectations are not super high, but he can probably give you, not Jaden Daniels, but he can probably give you, top 15 if he has a really good season. So as a QB3, I love the upside. Plus, you can stack him later after you take him in these tournaments. So far from the 6th spot, Mason has Joe Burrow, Puka Nacua, Jonathan Taylor, T. Higgins, Trevor Lawrence, and Sam Laporta. From the 10th spot, I've got CMC, Neighbors, Kittle, Drake May, Matthew Stafford, and JSN. So let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. If you're watching this later on, drop a comment. Let us know what you think so far after 6 rounds. There's nothing too crazy. I mean, like I said, the 9th spot doesn't have a receiver yet. That's probably the one thing that stands out to me. Otherwise, anything standing out to you with regards to the other builds in this draft so far, Mason?
What's that?
Any builds with the other teams that are kind of sticking out to you or standing out?
This is pretty much a sharp draft room. Usually you see that one guy that takes 3 tight ends in the first 6 rounds,
yes,
or that guy that fades quarterback altogether. I don't see any outlandish builds here.
Agreed.
I'm looking at every build is going, okay, I see what they did there. I do not like Philly Dawkins at number 12. I don't like his quarterback situation. But what else is he supposed to do? He started out with Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb. That's amazing. So going with Caleb Williams and Geno Smith as the offset to that's not a bad idea.
Would you have taken JJ McCarthy a bit early there instead of Kyron or maybe maybe Caleb and then JJ McCarthy? Would that make you feel better about it? And then maybe take, instead of Geno, get himself another positional player there?
I'm mad that I didn't take J.J. McCarthy in the 4th round myself. I was dumb enough to think that J.J. would make it around to the 5th.
I thought I thought that's where you may be going, but then I saw you take Higgins with the Burrow stack, so it kind of made sense.
The live streaming's kind of thrown off my mojo a little bit, so to speak.
It does. You got to get used to it. I know it seems like it's super easy to do, but it does. That's why, I've gotten timed out, in some of these drafts, and it's not the easiest thing in the world to kind of live stream and do these, have a conversation, try to pay attention to the draft. I mean, I like kind of sitting in my office alone, put some music on and just draft. That's basically my way of doing it. But we thought we'd get a special one out to you guys today. Again, this is an FFPC Superflex Best Ball Tournament, $100,000 up top, $577,000 prize pool. The $35 buy-in, if you're not already on the FFPC, myffpc.com, you see it on the screen. Use the code DRBALLER, DRBALLER, and it'll give you $25 off your first draft. So you'll basically get into this tournament for $10. Little sneaky DK Metcalf action.
It was either him or James Conner. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's good. You're good. I feel like this 9 spot might go. Oh no, he got sniped. Nice.
Okay, I can talk about James Conner now.
Go ahead. Yes, sir.
I really wanted James Conner instead of DK Metcalf, but when my finger went to click the button, Aaron Rodgers is good for one thing for sure, even as an old man: throwing touchdowns to the guy he likes. When I saw what Devontae Adams did last year at the end of the year, I thought that's DK this year.
So because I waited on QB to start, I usually like to take my third QB a little earlier. Plus, I get the stack with JSN. So I go Darnold there. Yeah, Metcalf, I mean, it's kind of one of those things like, yeah, they brought in Jonnu, but you got to think he's going to get peppered. Rodgers got to throw to somebody. I'm not too worried about the guys behind him in DK.
Yeah, DK will have touchdowns this year. Aaron Rodgers will put the ball in the end zone in DK's hands where only he can catch it.
And if they can get that running game going with Caleb and Warren, I mean, that'll just open it up for the rest of that offense.
Agreed. And we're still not done with, I mean, I haven't really been in the rumor mill, but who's to say we don't see Keenan Allen or Amari Cooper, something like that. I mean, give Aaron Rodgers another Aaron Rodgers is good enough to make Alan freaking Lazard a thing. If Rodgers can make
Alan on the Jets, even on the Jets last year.
Yeah, I won a lot of money back in 22, I think it was, when Devontae Adams left for the Raiders. Alan Lazard was the de facto wide receiver 1 in Green Bay.
Yep.
He was going in the 7th, 8th, or 9th round of FFPC drafts, and I draft heavy wide receivers, so he was my wide receiver 4 or wide receiver 5. And everybody was bagging on him, and people were taking Kadarius Toney over Alan Lazard, and I'm like, I'll take Aaron Rodgers, number 1 guy, over Kadarius Toney on the Giants any day.
Ooh, I like this. I was hoping this guy would make it back in George Pickens. I like him as my wide receiver 3 here. Just trying to look up who Drake May plays week 8. I don't love it. They're playing Cleveland just because Darnold and Stafford have the same bye week. But you know what? Tournament like this, I'm not too concerned about the bye week unless it totally takes me out of a position. I think the rest of my roster can make up for a low QB scoring that week. How much do bye weeks play into your builds? Are you really paying attention to them? You just kind of keep an eye on them? Are you trying to mix them up as much as possible? I know normally I try to mix them up as much as possible, but if a player fits in my build, I'll usually make it work anyways. I'll let you make your pick here. Obviously, you're on the clock. So we see a couple.
Yeah, I know who I'm gonna pick, but I'm trying to talk myself out of it.
Okay.
All right. Talented player on a great offense. It should be easy. It should not have taken me this long.
There we go, Zay Flowers. Another guy I feel like people are just not talking about this year.
I'm really concerned about my draft here because I kept getting sniped on quarterback, so I pretty much punted the position. But I never go this far in a super flex without my third quarterback.
Interesting.
Never. I'll have 3 quarterbacks in 5 rounds. I'll be the first one to 3 quarterbacks.
See, I don't mind that you're not chasing it. You know what I mean? Because for you to kind of reach on that next quarterback, it doesn't really... Well, actually, he kind of does fit your build. I'm not going to name any names because he hasn't been taken yet, but he does stack with one of your players. But let me see what his ADP is. What is this round? Yeah, so he'd be around early. I mean, you should be able to get him on the way back. We'll see if that happens. Little tight end run here. I mean, you've got Andrews, Ingram, and Njoku, Jake Ferguson, and then Tucker Kraft going off the board. You took Laporta. Do you have any concerns with that Detroit offense with Ben Johnson leaving? A bit of inconsistency with Laporta last year. What are your thoughts? Do you think this offense just keeps rolling this year?
Well, Laporta was the tight end 1 his rookie year. We remember and he's being drafted based on his down year last year.
Agreed.
My common sense tells me flat and simple, Laporta's somewhere in between. He's not the tight end 1. He's going to have a bounce back year. And so I think where he's going, I think he has George Kittle potential, but he's been drafted, 3 rounds after George Kittle. So
I like that.
I think I love the upside for where he's going, and especially considering that anybody who claims to think that they really know what's going to happen is just being a fool about it. And I just think he's as good a dart throw as any for where he's going in the draft, value-wise to ADP.
As I like to say, Mason, we don't know shit.
Yeah.
You know?
The only thing that measures is, how did you do? Let's talk results in January and show your ledger sheets to all your fantasy stuff. And, I did really well in Superflex in 22 and 23, and I thought I knew something. So I did about 50 of these Superflex tournament drafts last year. I made the tournament rounds in 1.
Yeah.
That one team did not clear the first round of the tournament rounds.
All right, you're on the clock. Curious to see if you're going to take that guy we talked about. He's still on the board.
What's funny is I talked a lot of crap about Anthony Richardson earlier today. So I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is.
I like it. I was hoping you'd go there. A, it's on the thumbnail, and B, that offense. I was trying to fit Daniel Jones on there, but I like that you take him here because you didn't take him around early. He fell back to you, and I love stacking quarterbacks with running backs. So I like the JT Daniel Jones, especially in the 9th round.
Daniel Jones is the guy that's the guy that I should be lucky to grab as an ADP value in the late 10th or 11th round. Having to take him in the 9th round makes me a little queasy, but I need a quarterback with legs.
Yeah. And we've seen Jones put up some rushing yards.
Yeah. It's not crazy to think that in a super flex that he'll outscore Trevor Lawrence in half the weeks if he plays. Ooh, I just saw Travis Hunter went off the board in the 8th round. That's right at his ADP.
All right. See where I'm at.
I know who you're taking.
Really? Man, I'm pretty up there with this guy. Let me see about this guy.
I'm gonna text it right now on Twitter, just so we can have proof if I'm right without saying it online.
I'm gonna see. I was considering it. But there's you know what? I can't do the receiver I wanted. I'm just looking at my bye weeks. Yeah, it was between him and a couple receivers, but I'm looking at my bye weeks and I've got like week 14 right now. I got 4 guys on bye on week 14. So I am going to take my RB2 here. You know how much I love Caleb. I think, in my opinion, as much as I think Jaylen Warren will have a role in that offense, I just feel like Caleb's going to come in there and it's going to be more of like a 60-40, 70-30. I don't know where you're at. If you think it's a straight split, I think most people think that Warren either takes, especially the early season. I just love Caleb Johnson, man. I think he's a workhorse running back. If he can if he can gain Rodgers' trust, I think he could be a smash this year.
Caleb Johnson, the work role is probably going to be exactly the same as when Najee Harris was there. But Caleb Johnson, comparing to Najee Harris, I like the term. He's got the juice. He's younger, more energetic. He's got the juice. And Najee Harris has done nothing but put up 1,000-yard seasons. But I think that's the one thing fantasy managers have seen a lack of. It's that juicy burst that makes you think, wow, he could go off at any minute for a
those big plays,
70-yard run.
Exactly.
I think Caleb gives you that.
For the big plays. Yeah, agreed. All right, let's see here.
Najee Harris would be a better pick if they awarded points for first downs.
Oh, no. You know what? I'm going to go to good old reliable Jordan Mason. The bye week situation is kind of messing with me right now because I keep going to grab guys that are week 14 buys, and it's frustrating.
I'm like, I never answered that question was on the pick. You asked me about bye weeks.
Yes.
I am with bye week. In best ball, I'm with bye weeks like Sean McVay is with his first-round picks when he wants to win a Super Bowl. F them bye weeks.
Yeah.
I don't care.
You're just drafting your team. You don't care.
Man, it's best ball. It's going to all come out in the wash. In redraft, you got to pay more attention because you don't want a lineup setting nightmare.
So I don't usually, I don't mind as much in the early rounds. When I get into the double digits, when I start paying a bit more attention. That's kind of how I do it, just because I don't want to leave myself naked for a week necessarily, especially when it's close to the playoffs. But I totally get where you're coming from. Austin Martin's another guy like that. He just drafts, man. He doesn't really care about bye weeks, which is probably how I should be doing it, especially in best ball, but...
Boy, this is going to feel gross. This is going to feel real gross.
Yeah, he is gross to click on. He's the other guy I was considering there. But I don't... His price, I mean, in the 10th round in that offense as the RB1, it's hard. It's as much as it's gross, it's hard to kind of pass on him, especially when he keeps falling there. I mean, if anything... That's probably who I should have taken instead of Jordan Mason. Just because if you look at my build as my RB3, that would have been a lot better. But as your RB2, that's perfect. I'm basically banking on Jordan Mason to take over that backfield.
No, you're right. Jordan Mason and Jaylen Warren are both their own team's RB2. Now, the reason Brian Robinson feels gross is Austin Eckler's had high ankle issues the last 2 years. If he doesn't have those ankle issues, is Brian Robinson really better than Eckler? If Eckler is fully healthy? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think they each have their role. I mean, Debo coming in can also steal a couple touches behind the line. The other guy I was considering there, and the bye weeks kind of got in the way, was Tyrone Tracy. I think Tyrone Tracy, for me, I think people are overvaluing Scatterboo, in my opinion. I like Tracy. I like what I saw last year. And that's probably either Tracy or Robinson's probably where I should have went there instead of just clicking on my old reliable Jordan Mason.
I kind of disagree a little bit about Tracy.
Yeah, not too many people are on him. I don't expect... I know not a lot of people are on him, but I kind of like him at his price. as one of ththose last RB1. Do you think Scadaboo comes in and takes over that role? Yeah. Interesting.
You know, the thing is, I don't know if Scadaboo takes over the role, but here's how I feel about Tracy. He's Damian Pierce. Damian Pierce was awesome as a rookie. We thought he was going to be a thing. As soon as Houston brought in a better running back than him, Damian Pierce was instantly irrelevant. But
Yeah.
he was good while he had the job. Tyrone Tracy's the same.
We'll see. I'm trying to pull him up here so I can look at his.
Good. Froze on me.
Sorry, you cut out there, buddy.
Yeah, audio froze on me. I was just saying that it's fair to question if Scadaboo's any better than Tracy, but Tracy to me is the guy who will eventually lose his job if somebody. He'll become irrelevant eventually.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a fifth-round pick. You know, he's a fifth-round pick. Gave you 6 touchdowns last year, 192 rush attempts, 839. So not huge volume, but he also came on a little later, if I recall. I think when Singletary got hurt, no?
Yeah, I blew it on Singletary. He was going to be my guy last year, and he was such a great value, and I blew it on him. Because Singletary's the guy who relegated Damian Pierce to irrelevancy.
Yes.
Everybody thought Damian Pierce was going to be a thing, and then he lost his job to Singletary. So I thought Singletary was going to do the same thing to Tyrone Tracy, but I was wrong. Thank you, OG Mudbone.
So after 10 rounds, we're in the 11th round here, in the middle 11th round. Mason's on the clock from the 6th spot. He's got 3 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, and adds his 5th receiver. I like Khalil a lot at his cost this year. I picked him up actually in the Fish Bowl. I couldn't believe he was still there. I'm going to go look where I got him because I think it was even after, where is it? Yeah, I got him right after Olave. So the next round when it came back to me, Shakir was still sitting there at the 10-12. For me, that was just easy money, especially when you get like first down and PPR volume points.
Yeah, and best ball, it might be to my favor, Egbuka. His own team's WR1, although they got Kincaid and Keon Coleman and James Cook catches passes, but Egbuka has upside, I think, that Shakir doesn't have with just pure talent. He needs situational things to go his way, of course, but I like to go with steady veteran dependent players, something I can count on.
I don't disagree. I added Charbonnet here for my Seattle stack as my RB4. I mean, I'm pretty set now at running back. I'm not desperate for it at all. I've got my 3 stud receivers, got my 3 quarterbacks, and then Kittle as my hero tight end.
I'm going to mute myself because my dogs are barking.
Yeah, no worries, man. So 11 rounds in the book. Check my little ADP here. All right, which way are we going to go here? clock is being used up. Matthew Golden goes off the board. Might be a bit early. Man, I have so much of this guy. Let's just check the old, just for fun. Whew. 21% on this guy. But I'm going with it. It's hard for me not to click on Hunter Henry, especially if I have Drake May. I think we're just going to see that rapport build this year in New England. Obviously, Diggs, who knows if he's fully healthy. He is coming off a pretty big injury. You've got the rookie Kyle Williams. I do think Drake May leans on Hunter Henry this year. It's kind of Drake May's, first full season as a quarterback, as a starting quarterback. Last year, he came in a little late in the season, then dealt with some injuries. What are your thoughts? How are you approaching the Dallas backfield, Mason? I see Jaden Blue goes off the board. You've got Javonte Williams there. You've got Miles Sanders, and then Maffa, who's kind of a super late rookie draft pick for them. Is that a backfield you're avoiding, or how are you approaching Dallas's backfield?
I just unmuted myself. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
I avoid Dallas's backfield. I don't know who to gamble on. I'd rather take the one-eyed pirate over Dallas's backfield.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Javonte Williams was, if I was going strictly by ADP, he was the guy who fell that I should have grabbed there. But I'm going to grab my third running back that might not play it down all year if circumstances go weird ways. I don't even know who Maffa is. I'm worried about Miles Sanders. I'm worried about Jaden Blue. Jaden Blue was a guy that wasn't even relevant enough for me to study for dynasty running backs in the rookie drafts. And all of a sudden now we're talking about him stealing snaps as Dallas's RB1. I just don't know. And if I don't know, I stay away.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it offers opportunity in those situations, but I do feel like, Jaden Blue seems more like a satellite back kind of guy. It's one of those where I can't get into Javonte, man. I feel like he had opportunities last year. He was in a pretty good offense considering, and he still couldn't take a hold of it. You had guys like Jaleel McLaughlin playing, on the field with him. So we'll see. We'll see if one of these guys can kind of take the reins in Dallas, or if we're just going to see, kind of that, what's that, revolving door situation. So we'll see what happens in Dallas in the backfield. I was a little bit more on Blue, I guess, when rookie fever was hitting. Mostly if I was stacking Dallas, but not my favorite backfield to draft from, that's for sure.
All right, say a prayer for me here.
There it is.
Yes!
Oh, I thought you took Shaheed.
I was really, really worried. No, I like Shaheed. I love Shaheed, but I got 5 wide receivers, and I only got 3 running backs.
Garendo?
And we started this off by me throwing my shade at Christian McCaffrey. Yep. And it makes no sense for me to be such a CMC hater if I'm not willing to throw my money at the guy who will replace him if he goes down. Oh, and I certainly couldn't let him. Fall to the 10th spot.
He's one of my most owned players, and that's kind of why now I sprinkle in some CMC. I know it's the price is a little higher now, but tournament like this I don't mind. But Garendo is one of my favorite guys to draft in this range for sure. His upside, in my opinion, is huge. He looked awesome as a rookie last year.
His upside is the next Austin Eckler. When Austin Eckler took Melvin Gordon's job in San Diego, to me, I feel like that's Isaac Garendo's potential, is if McCaffrey has lingering issues with his leg that prevents him from being as explosive as he used to be, then Garendo's that guy that can catch passes in Kyle Shanahan's offense.
So I'm going to do something I don't do often here. I'm going to take my fourth quarterback. I'm going to take Jackson Dart. I have Neighbors naked. And like I said earlier, I waited on quarterback. Normally I'm comfortable with just my 3, and I might throw one in kind of with one of my last couple picks. But if Russell can't make that offense work or get the W's in New York, these guys, their jobs are on the line, coaching staff-wise. I could see Jackson Dart being a surprise this year and kind of taking over that offense. For Neighbors to hit, one of those two guys has to come in strong in Wilson and Dart. So I don't mind the upside here, adding my fourth quarterback to this build.
It's hard live streaming because I like to talk myself through picks, and it reveals what other players have on the board and what they're doing. And
it's hard because you can't mention players that are not taken yet, all that kind of stuff. So I feel you, man. Trust me. I was just about to say I like a lot of players in this range. Let's look at the old ADP here.
How are you on stack busting? Do you ever look at the board and see who's going after a stack and just snipe that stack just to prevent it?
It's like a tie break. Dan and I talked about this a lot, like in the district over the years. I'm very much looking at my own build when I'm doing these drafts. I notice a lot of guys in this draft specifically are kind of stack busting. I look at my build first, and that's my priority. If I'm really deciding between two guys and all things are equal, and I look over and I see a guy building a specific stack, I might do it, but it's not necessarily something I'm focusing on. How about you?
Yeah, I'm exact same as you. The only thing is when it feels like a more important pick than it really is. It gives you that emotional juice where you're like, yeah, got you, yes. Which is the competitive thing we're all looking for in doing these things, because a draft in July that almost might be essentially meaningless overall to my fantasy portfolio, unless I win the $100,000, of course. It just gives me that extra feeling of, haha, gotcha, that I'm looking for, the excitement I'm chasing.
You did read the fine print, right, Mason? If you win the $100,000 while you're drafting on the show, I get a cut. That's
I'm gonna run that one by my gorgeous wife, see how she feels about it. And you will get every dime that she allows me to give you. Up to the 100,000. So
while you're
I'm on the clock.
Yeah, while you're thinking here in the clock, couple running backs I like in this range. Actually, there's a few of them. We talked about Garendo. I like Ray Davis, especially with the Cook issues and just what we saw last year with that one huge monster game. Trey Benson, James Conner's getting up there as much as he's been a beast. He's in an offense that's favorable this year schedule-wise, and he's definitely the two guy. I love grabbing Roshan when I'm building San Fran builds. Obviously, they play each other week 17. And then Jalen Wright, now with John Ugan and, A-Chain, he's moving up the ADP. I kind of like grabbing Jalen Wright, especially in this range. He'll either complement and take over kind of that Mostert role. And then if, God forbid, there's any kind of injuries or anything like that, then could definitely be a league winner in that offense. So Brenton Strange, him and Hunter Henry, I always say, are probably the tight ends I own the most. Well, they are the tight ends I own the most on this site, on this platform, the FFPC. I just, to me, they're comfortable picks, if that makes sense.
I like Mike Gesicki better than Brenton Strange in a vacuum, just pure talent-wise. But I'm going to this, where they are in the pecking order of their own team. I don't have faith in Travis Hunter being an offensive player, the way a lot of other people draft them as. Who else they got? Diami Brown. Who's catching touchdown passes out of the backfield? Maybe ETN, but I think Brenton Strange has the ability to be. When Evan Engram went from the Giants and went to Jacksonville, and Trevor Lawrence made Evan Engram a thing where he was never a thing in New York.
He was peppering.
Lawrence made him a thing. Now that Evan Engram went to Denver, I think there's a good upside that Trevor Lawrence is going to make Brenton Strange a thing. And I'm not willing to gamble more than a 14th round Superflex pick on it, but it's a good bet when I'm going him or Gesicki or him and Mason Taylor. And I got a stack with Lawrence.
That's what I was going to say, right? Lawrence learning a new offense, you got to think he's going to lean. We saw how much he leaned on Evan Engram when he was healthy. So I like what I saw from Strange. Athletic guy, slides in nicely into this offense. Liam Cohen, we know, is a mad genius in the offense. So we'll see. We'll see how he uses these guys. That's kind of the beauty of that offense. We don't necessarily know how that pecking order will play out. We know BTJ is probably the first look guy getting in most of the targets, but Strange could easily be the second guy. Yeah, Gesicki goes off the board there.
Yeah, Mike Gesicki goes off the board. I should have took Gesicki because Strange pairs up with the same bye week as my other tight end.
Again, the live stream drafts, Mason. That's what it does to you. If you were alone in a cave drafting, you probably would have seen that. I like Gesicki in this range a lot. I've got a lot of teams where I even triple stack Gesicki, Strange, and Hunter. Gesicki should be the third target in that offense. Obviously, Chase Brown will play into that, but they just signed Gesicki to a 3-year contract, locked him in. They liked what they saw last year. They're good. In my opinion, they'll get him more involved this year. And
they can't afford a George Kittle. He's everything they could hope for from a cheap tight end.
Agreed. And if Higgins misses time, then again, not. But if one of the receivers misses time, you got to think Gesicki can definitely step up and even give you more volume. All right, so you're coming up here in the 15th round. Again, these are 20 rounds. Slim, as they call it, Superflex Best Ball Tournament, tight end premium. Start 2 receivers, 2 running backs. You've got a Superflex spot and a flex spot as your starting lineup every week.
I think I should practice loading up my queue.
Yeah, I'm bad for that.
Yeah, so when I want to talk to you about a player, I'm looking at the guys that are available and loading up my queue, and I'm so tempted to say, well, how do you feel about so-and-so?
Yes.
Well, my queue is now empty.
Jamie's back. What's up, Jamie? So I'll read you off mine. So far, I've got Drake May, Matt Stafford, Sam Darnold, Jackson Dart. I've got CMC, Caleb Johnson, Jordan Mason, Zach Charbonnet, and Roshan Johnson. Malik Neighbors, JSN, George Pickens, and then George Kittle and Hunter Henry is the build so far. Mason's on the clock from the 6th spot, 15th round. Again, guys, smash that like button. Appreciate any support. Takes only a millisecond. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check me out on X, on TikTok, Draft Room Baller. We've got this Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, Andrew Cooper, the tight end guru, is joining Dan Williamson and myself in the GOAT District live on this very channel. Make sure you tune in for that. And last week, did a bunch of shows. Well, did a couple shows as a guest. I was on the, what was it called? Aces Up, I believe it's called, on the sports affiliate with Joe Carlton and Joey Brown. And then I did 2 hours with Eric Balky on the FFPC High Stakes Fantasy Show. Make sure you check that out. We talk some high stakes strategy, some targets, some avoids, all that good stuff. I'm going to add Williams here. I didn't add... He's not a guy I've necessarily clicked a lot, but when I have Drake May, I'm looking for receivers in this range, looking for upside. That's an easy click. $16th coming around. A lot of.
Are you starting to draft Jerome Ford a little bit since the Quinshon Judkins news?
Not necessarily, because I feel like he keeps going a little sooner than I look for him. He's a guy that I do have some bags, just because obviously prior to the draft he wasn't, he didn't have two rookie running backs to compete with. Dylan Sampson I've grabbed in a couple rookie drafts. I like the value, I like the talent there. So I think if anything, Dylan Sampson's the one that can really pop, because we saw Jerome Ford as the running back in this offense last year. Jamie likes the Roshan pick. I'd take Roshan there, especially the week 17 correlation with San Fran. And I love me some Roshan, man. I just find that price, 14th round, if he takes over that offense or even gets into an even split, I think he can really give nice value in this range for sure. There's a lot of running backs in this range that I like. Marshawn Lloyd's probably he is my most owned running back on the FFPC, Dynasty, Best Ball, Redraft. I like Braylon Allen, what he can offer in that Jets offense. He kind of complements Breece Hall a bit, but it's, gives you that upside if injury occurs. Tyler Algier, obviously, as the 2 in Atlanta. Bigsby's not a guy I click on. How do you feel about Bigsby? You've got a Jacksonville stack going. After seeing Bigsby last year and what he did when he had the opportunity or what he didn't do, he's not a guy I can click on. I don't know how you feel about it, Mason.
I haven't clicked on it much. I've got a few on the drafters best balls, but I fade Bashul Tootin 100%. I think that the rookie hype that goes out in the fantasy community, it depresses the ADP of proven guys like ETN, and Bigsby did well last year at times. At times he looked like he was a better running back than ETN. So I think you get a great ADP value on both Bigsby and ETN because of the hype around Tootin that existed. And I'm not real sold on Tootin, so I think he's just going to come in as the rookie. As soon as he fumbles his first football, he's going to go to the bench, and the veterans will keep their jobs.
So I wasn't necessarily planning on adding another running back if I didn't need to, but Jarquez Hunter stacks with my Stafford. I really like him as kind of a last running back to add to this build. He's got the upside. He's got the juice. I've got decent bags of Corum, so it gives me that hedge. Where are you on the Rams backfield? Do you have a guy you focus on, or are you kind of sprinkling it around? How are you approaching that?
Kyron Williams might be my running back 1 in a few leagues if I go wide receiver, and fade running back to the second or to the third round rather. And Blake Corum versus Jarquez Hunter, it's just one of those things where each one of them is a dart throw, and I'm not ready to say confidently, oh, you need to have this one or the other one. I'll take either one where I can get them at an ADP value.
Agreed.
Finally, I got the pick I had in my queue for. That's a first.
You sniped me. Actually, you didn't, because I was going to take him, but then I realized he was another week 14, and my 2 tight ends are already week 14. So I like Theo Johnson a lot this year. I think I feel like I'm repeating myself, but last year, whenever I watched the Giants and he was on the field, they seemed to lean on him, especially end of the game, 2-minute drills, trying to get down the field quicker. They really, really leaned on him. I totally get different quarterbacks, coming in this year, but just he showed that he really belongs in that offense on that field, and I think they're going to lean on him this year. Other than Neighbors, I mean, Wandell's there. He's, unfortunately injured. every once in a while, but not much else in that Giants catching game, receiving game is what I meant to say. So Theo Johnson, definitely a guy that should get targeted this year. Can, in my opinion, take a nice step forward. So we're ending.
I'm kind of glad.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm kind of glad Jack Betch went off the board right before me, because I feel like with all the hype around this Thornton kid, I think he's really falling in drafts, and everybody's talking about what role he'll have. And I technically feel like draft capital is going to supersede that. They're going to get him out there, and they're going to give him an opportunity. And if he seizes the opportunity that he's going to get because of his draft capital, he'll be a thing. And I think he's a great value going in the 16th round here. I mean, he probably goes, 14th round of regular drafts? Big Gorilla. Where does Jack Betch go?
Here, let me see. Big Gorilla, he's going right now.
15th round.
Is that where you have him? Oh, yeah, right here, 15th round, beginning of the 15th. So 1503.
Yep. And I just think that's crazy for the projected wide receiver 2 or 3 if you count Bach Bowers, of course. But Geno Smith is a gunslinger. He's going to pepper the ball around the field.
Yeah, agreed. I think people are really
Geno
focusing.
Smith.
I was just going to say people are focusing a lot on, obviously Bowers and Gianti, but if you can pick out, obviously Mayers, I feel like is always the silent assassin, and nobody likes him, but he produces every year. But then someone else has to step up, and you hope that a guy like Besh comes in with his size and commands targets in that offense.
Yeah, Jacoby Myers reminds me a lot of Alan Lazard in 22 with Aaron Rodgers. Like, I'm not ever going to call Jacoby Myers, a league one of the top 12 receivers, but he's going to get volume. He's going to produce. He's going to catch balls. He's going to get a lot of targets. That's going to equate to fantasy points. And when you can get him as your 4th wide receiver, or possibly, like I got Khalil Shakir as my 5th wide receiver, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, you've got a nice, deep receiving core there. I'm a little light after George Pickens with Kyle Williams being my 4th receiver, but this is where strategy kicks in on how to finish it off so that the depth of my receiving core can really is not in trouble.
That's one of the reasons why I like to take 3 quarterbacks in the first 3 quarterbacks in the first 5 to 6 rounds of Superflex, because while it looks scary, you have to trust yourself. If you're good at drafting value, you are going to recoup that value. If you're a solid, good drafter, if you get good value at each pick and just play the draft as it comes to you, you will recoup the value that you lost for grabbing those stud quarterbacks.
Exactly. No, it's true. A lot of times, you look. I look back at drafts. And let's face it, I mean, the last 3, 4, 5 rounds, there are not a lot of big hits, but it's all about the rest of your build. How are you complementing what you've already done? How you, whether it's stacks, whether it's bye weeks, whether it's just positional depth. Every round is important in these best ball tournaments, for sure.
All right. I'm going to do this just because I think he'll outscore Kyle Williams this year.
Yep. May have been in my queue.
But now that guy's gone, you're probably going to get the guy that I'd want next.
Let's look at the buys here. Or not the buys, the Fantasy Mojo. Oh no, I'm on Big Gorilla. I gotta get back to the. So if you guys don't use fantasymojo.com, it's a no-brainer, guys. I have no affiliation. Like, I'm not getting paid or anything to say it, but anytime I draft, any kind of draft, doesn't matter if it's on FFPC or any other site, I've always got my Fantasy Mojo boards up. I'll use the BBT if I'm drafting a 1 QB on another platform, just because for me, the sharpest drafters are on the FFPC site. So I'm usually looking at that ADP to find value, see where guys are going.
I'm going to go a step further with Fantasy Mojo. One of the reasons it's hard for me to draft here on the live stream is I normally have on FFPC 41 players loaded in my queue, straight off Mojo's list.
Yes,
and it's not what I don't draft off that. It's not like I'm just going to take the top player, but it absolutely 100% guarantees that I won't miss the guy that falls a round and a half in ADP value. You know, I might be looking at Theo Johnson here in the 16th round, but heck, if Jalen Wright was still available, I'd be a fool to pass that up. So, Fantasy Mojo, I just load up my queue according to Mojo. And then I also use, of course, Draft Sharks is a great tool to make sure I'm not missing on highly ranked guys. But Mojo is indispensable for all drafts for me.
Yeah, same. Trying to look at the ADP here for these. I mean, once we get in these rounds, ADP kind of goes out the window. I'm glad I took Higbee here, though, to stack him with Stafford, because there's a bit of a tight end run happening. I think Higbee this year could be the Zach Ertz that we saw last year, in the sense that they bring in a rookie. People are kind of, hoping that rookie hits early, but Higbee was injured last year. This team is a competing team. They're playing a. All right, let me just make my pick here. Do I want to snipe you, or do I want to take? Let me see here.
I don't know if you'd snipe me or not. I don't know if I've got a strategy in these late rounds that not a lot of people have.
18. And then where's this guy going? Why am I not seeing this guy? Oh, there he is. I'm going to take Slayton there. Because the guy was...
Yeah, you didn't snipe me.
No, that's not who I thought would
Yeah, I would have taken...
Sorry?
I keep wanting to say who I'm going to take before my pick comes up, so I'm just going to shut up.
It's all good. I was going to take someone else that I think fits your build, but we'll see what happens here when you make your pick.
I'm not too concerned about stacking at this point. Calvin Austin would have been an option.
Yeah, Calvin Austin in this range I've been taking quite a bit. He seems like the two right now.
Well, golly, I just saw it. I was not planning on taking this guy, but he's going to be my pick.
Receiver?
Yep.
I'll let you take it, and I'll let you know. That's
it stacks.
Yeah, so that's who I was going to take, because I like taking him in this round.
I'm dying to spit out of my mouth who I wanted to take.
Yeah, De'Ami Brown is who I was going to take next. The reason I went with Slayton there, I mean, strategically, I think either guy works. But, I mean, obviously Slayton for the stack, he fits nicely. He's one of those guys where he just needs a couple catches a game to really produce. But I think De'Ami Brown in that offense, people are sleeping on. again, you have a new regime in Jacksonville this year, and this guy knows how to, lean on offensive players' strengths. So Damie Brown kind of gets a, rejuvenation opportunity here with Jacksonville and this new situation going in 2025. Yeah, people forget he was a third-round pick.
This is probably the most I've paying attention to my cue and where.
You're cutting out a bit there, buddy.
Zach Wilson off the board.
Wow.
He doesn't even stack with anybody.
Yeah, that's a weird one. I mean, I get it in the last round to pick a flyer like that on a backup, but to me, to take him in the 18th there's enough flyer receivers in this range, even some flyer running backs.
I don't like Tua very much, so Zach Wilson, I'm embarrassed to say how much I have him on drafters, but I draft Zach Wilson in the 20th round of drafters every time I take Jalen Waddle or Tyreek Hill. He's a late round flyer. If Tua goes down, he'll throw the ball to his stud receivers, and I feel like I'm going to get production. And Zach Wilson has sneaky upside with his legs.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, like I said, I'm not a Tua guy. He's not someone I draft often. I don't think I draft him at all. I try to say I don't avoid someone fully, but he's just someone I can't click on at his price. Just last year, I remember I had him on a dynasty. Him and Waddle were just a nightmare, and it's maybe that's the bad taste in my mouth. But even last year, that was really the only shares I had of each guy, and it ended up burning me. They're just not an offense. If I'm taking pieces in that offense, those are usually not the two guys. I mean, Waddle gives you pretty good value this year if Tua can stay healthy. But again, opportunity cost usually has me going a different direction around both those guys.
All right, I was gonna take Taj Brooks there.
Yeah, I think you got sniped there. I think that's exactly what happened.
I would not touch Zach Moss with a 10-foot pole. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say names. I did it again. All right, we're gonna. Yeah, let's just do it. I can't remember who it was that said it. It might have been on Draft Sharks, but there is such a razor thin line between Deontay Johnson either leading his team in targets or not making the team.
Well, last I heard, he was in the running for the slot position role. So, I mean, if that's true, he's definitely going to get targets.
I wanted Keenan Allen.
Yep. I'm at the point now where I have to force myself to not take Keenan Allen because I take him in almost every draft.
Yeah.
The value he offers,
Let me pull up my I'm going to pull up my player exposures on drafters. It's embarrassing. Player exposures. My number one is David Njoku. I take him everywhere I can get him. I would have had him in this draft, except I took Sam Laporta.
Yep, I took him in the fifth bowl. I definitely like Njoku.
I have 27 shares of David Njoku on 48%.
I mean, if he's healthy, there's no reason why he doesn't get peppered.
I have 20. Yep. I have an embarrassing amount of shares of Amari Cooper, Deontay Johnson, and Keenan Allen.
clock here. $20 seconds. Let me just check something really quick. All right, I'm going to take Jalen Knoll here. I know he's least favorable these days. Not as sexy as he was at one point, but for me, that's huge value. Kirk's health-wise is questionable if he can stay on the field the whole season. So last round, we'll read off the rosters for Mason and myself. We'll take a quick look at the draft. Again, guys, make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and drop some comments. If you guys are watching this later on, make sure you let us know in the comments if you have, picks that you don't like, or maybe you would have went a different way, you have any questions, anything like that. Something you do like, maybe there's a player we drafted that you're avoiding or that you're targeting, let us know in the comments for sure. We'd love to hear from you guys. Don't forget this Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, Andrew Cooper, the tight end gurus in the GOAT District.
I love the 20th round. You just scroll through who's left and decide, who do I want to throw a random dart at?
Yes.
Oh, I just saw Todd Gurley's in there somewhere.
That's hilarious.
I could draft Tevin Coleman. All right, Blake Corum's on board. Let's see who you go with.
I have two guys I'm deciding between.
I wonder if they're the same as my two guys.
All right. I'm going to stick with the stack for this one. I'm going to go Atwell. I was going to take a guy. We can talk about it after you pick.
I know who's going to go at the number 7 with Longhorn. I know who he's taking.
See if you're right.
Longhorn's a guy I texted him to get in the draft, and I know exactly who he's taking.
Oh, do you? Nice.
No, actually, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. He wants to take it, but he won't. It's a guy he knows I won't touch.
Ty Johnson?
We joke a lot. No, it was somebody else. I don't want to say it now because he's still available. It's kind of a shock that he's still available in a Superflex draft. All right.
All right, you didn't take who I thought you would take.
Shedeur Sanders.
There he is. Steve says I took Winston instead.
I thought Shedeur Sanders.
Shedeur went next after your pick.
Yep. I can't. That's why I was like Shedeur Sanders in the last round, but then I looked up and I went, he's already got 4 quarterbacks, so he won't do it.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because he started with Hurts. For me, if you invest in Hurts and then come back with Stroud, you don't necessarily need to smash 4 other quarterbacks. I see the value with Shedeur there. I think Melrose may be the guy I avoid there.
Well, it was an auto pick, so it might have been. It might have been you just left the draft and it's just auto.
Steve was hoping for Dart to pair with Winston. He says, so I sniped him.
Nice. Well, he told me he was going to snipe me all day long, and let's see who he sniped from me. He got one guy from me. Yeah, he got. I sent him a message on Twitter since I can't text right now. He got Justin Herbert from me. Really ticked me off.
Oh, I see what because he has Wilson. I don't hate his build. I like his tight ends: Brock, Pitt, Mason Taylor. He's got Justin Fields, Herbert, Russell Wilson, and then he came back with Winston. Running backs: Kamara, Swift, Montgomery, Eckler, Brashard Smith, Ty Johnson. Yeah, I don't hate that build. And then you just pissed yellow all through the rest of it. Talk to us about your team, Mason, as we finish the draft, and then when we get to the bottom, I get to see if my the other guy I was going to take not off the board yet, and there's 3 picks left. So talk to us about your team from the 6th spot.
Yeah, I am going to make a run to win this league with suspect quarterbacks. I've done well in Superflex with suspect quarterbacks, so I feel like we're going to do well here. Jonathan Taylor's health is going to make my season. He's missed an awful lot of games over the last 3 years, so it's going to be hard to win this league with Brian Robinson and Najee Harris if Jonathan Taylor doesn't stay healthy.
Yeah, you're basically, anytime you're building hero, though, you're pretty much saying your anchor is going to start most games and give you most of that RB1 position. You're just trying to really fill that RB2 with the rest of the guys, right? Your theme was sneaky offenses, so I built Giants stack and I built a Jaguars stack. So I got Giants and Jaguars with tight end and quarterback combos. You mean Colts? Who do
nope,
you have?
Jaguars.
You have.
I got.
No, I know, but you're saying the Giants. You've got Theo, but who else do you have? Who do you have?
I just quarterback to Theo. That's just my Giant stack is quarterback to tight end. With the Jaguars, I got Brenton Strange and Diami Brown to go with Trevor Lawrence.
Daniel Jones with the Colts.
I don't know why. I was just thinking he was with the Giants still.
That's funny. I do that often, man. Your brain just switches, That's how you kept saying Giants, and I couldn't figure out, other than Theo Johnson, who you had.
I still have a hard time remembering that Evan Engram plays for the Broncos.
Yes. Yep. There's a few of those where my brain will play tricks on me. So you have a Colts stack, and you have a Jacksonville stack.
I'm okay with that. Jonathan Taylor with Daniel Jones, that's not bad.
Well, the nice thing with that, Mason, is they play each other week 17, and this is a tournament. So if again, maybe that could be the last topic here. Does week 17 play a factor in your builds? I mean, here you kind of smashed it if you do.
Not as much as it should, probably. I think that people who win these kinds of tournaments will tell you it should make a difference, but when it comes to big tournaments, my philosophy has always been just get to the playoffs and anything can happen. And if you try so hard to build these teams for weeks 16 and 17, you're more likely to decrease your chance of even making it that far for getting goofy with it. But that's probably why I'm not as successful in the Best Ball Tournament, the Superflex Tournament. I'll have a fair share amount of teams make the tournament rounds, but I very rarely ever make it past the first round of the tournament rounds.
Yeah, I mean, for me, bye weeks, week 17 correlation, stacking, like, to me, it's kind of like the stock market. Like, I'm a trader, but not just one indication is going to tell me, like, get in or out of this trade. Like, I need, 3 to 4 to 5 indications that are telling me the same thing which is kind of how I look at it here. I've got, we talked about the Fantasy Mojo ADP. I've got that screen up. I'll have the screen up with the week 17 or, just the weekly schedule up in case I need that. Obviously, I'm tracking my stacks. And then just, there's more factors for me. So it's not like I'm leaning into week 17 correlation or bye weeks or stacks or anything like that. It's kind of a mix of everything. And especially when I'm looking at my queue and it's like, which guys do I like? And then it's okay, which guy fits better in my build? And then if I'm still contemplating, it's okay, who plays who in week 17, if that matters based on what I've already done. So for me, all these things are just pieces of information that I'm using for my build. I waited a little later to start quarterback. I've got McCaffrey, Neighbors, Kittle, and then the 3 quarterbacks in the next 4 rounds. So I've got a Seattle stack, I've got a LA Rams stack, a New England stack, San Francisco stack throughout, and then I've got a bit of a New York Giants stack with Dart, Slayton, and Neighbors. So I've got a few stacks in my build. Again, there's nothing really that stands out with the other builds. If there's anything you guys see, make sure you let us know in the comments. Mason, man, appreciate you jumping on. I know this was kind of all last minute, so I appreciate you jumping on and talking shop. And it's always fun to draft in an afternoon, Can't go wrong with that.
This has been a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on to do this.
Appreciate you, Mason. Appreciate you guys tuning in for this draft. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss them. Sometimes I'll schedule them ahead of time, especially if they're in the evening. I'll let you guys know ahead of time, but sometimes during the day, it just depends on my schedule. So make sure you subscribe. Tick off the little alert so you know the drafts are coming up. Make sure you follow me on X at DraftRoomBaller. I always post that the draft's coming up, or I'll let you guys know if I'm jumping into a draft so you guys can jump in with me. But otherwise, this has been a blast drafting with Mason. Make sure you follow him at Mason Spain on the X machine. And have a great rest of afternoon, guys. I'm going to come back this week with at least one more live draft, one more stream, and then don't forget Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, the GOAT District. Dan Williamson, myself, and Andrew Cooper. Hope you guys have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll check you all later.